Well, we are live from the Heartland. Great to see you. Great to have all of you here. And tonight we are ready for some unindoctrination. I hope you are, because here it comes, wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, and border to border tonight. The four horsemen, pagan victory, and also calling all darksiders. It's going to be a very interesting and a very exciting deprogram tonight. Let's greet everybody on Rockfin, like Kelly Averson. Brandon is also here. Let's see who else is here. Karen is here. Zoe is here. Tom Nixon's here. Carmen's here. Nice to see all of you. Come on in. The water's fine. Glad to see you here. And let's say hi to everybody that's checking in from our other platforms. We've got Super Galactic, Zeus Crowley, Cruz Michael, Christy Daniels, Mind Over Magic, Joe Montoya, Artie Thomas, great to see you, Colin Braniff, Heather Cooper, Tracy Cooper Ryder, RP Brothers is here. Nice to see you, Helmet Spear Shield, Archbishop Richard Foreskin, Diane Brown, Jack Nelson. Oh boy, Tracy's here. Tracy Catalari, Joyce Catalari, Tracy Cooper Ryder. Ione Sky is with us. Smoochie is in the house. Now, before I say this, V Thor's here. I'm not going to answer any questions about this. Please don't put it in the chat. But on jeffreydarty.com, Fly High Paranormal's here. So is Alan Stiles. I've started a new group. I think all you have to do is click on it and join it. It says The Cousin's Porch. It's right there on jeffreydarty.com. Go ahead and check it out. And of course, all you have to do as well while you're there, since we're sponsored by the 1-2 punch of Focus Life Force Energy and Nanosoma. Hey, Juan and Tammy. You can also click on the nice Nanosoma logo. You can click on the nice Focus Life Force Energy logo. The Focus Life Force Energy logo, Focus Life Force Energy gives you the high consciousness environment that you need to be at your best. The Nanosoma goes into your body and gets out everything that's not supposed to be in there, out. And it also allows you to be, allows you to be at your best as well physically. So those work together. That's why I call it the 1-2 punch. jeffreydarty.com. And you'll see the Focus Life Force Energy logo. You'll see the Nanosoma logo. You'll see the Relax Spas. You'll see all of our great sponsors there. Check them out because it is fantastic. And these are things that will help change your life. That's why we support them. Julie Storm, also nice to see you. V Thors has been watching since 2016. Well, let's jump right into this tonight. And let's see what we've got to see. You can tell already the voice is a little thin. I'll try to go as long as I can, and we'll see what we can do. But this is so life-changing. This came from one of our cousins, and I don't really know if I'm supposed to say names, so I don't always say names. But this is one from one of our female cousins, had a realization, a vision, if you will, and saw this, and it spoke to me immediately. And it brought to my mind what I'm about to bring and make available to your mind. Very, very powerful. The Four Horsemen is one of those scary things. It's one of those Armageddon things. Somebody at 8 o'clock or a little bit after 8 o'clock, top of the hour, say, hey, don't forget Jaron, because I have to do something for Jaron at past 8 o'clock. But this whole idea of the Four Horsemen, it's scary. It's awful. We worry about it. And that's because it is a Judeo-Christian inversion. And the Four Horsemen is not about loss. The Four Horsemen is not about horror. The Four Horsemen is not about terror. The Four Horsemen is about pagan victory. The Four Horsemen are about pagan victory. Nice to see you, Raven Blue. So let's get into this and let's talk about it, because it'll blow your mind. And speaking of blowing your mind, I thought I would start off with something sent to me by another cousin whose name escapes me. I do this hours ahead. I should write down who it is, but sometimes you don't want me to say your name anyway. So let's look at this. This came from Mail Online, the UK, published just a few days ago, 26 November 2022. And it seems that there was a researcher at Cambridge who, during a church service, gave a presentation. He sounds like my kind of guy, because his presentation resulted in worshipers running out yelling, "It's heresy!" Worshipers leaving in tears as a Cambridge dean claims that Jesus may have been transgender after a row about Christ's wound having what he saw as a vaginal appearance. Cambridge research student claimed that Christ had a trans body during the sermon. He compared Christ's side wound depicted in medieval paintings to a vagina. Church worshipers cried heresy at the dean of Trinity College when they left. And it just tickles me pink to see Christians act like the virtue signaling libtards that they are. They make fun of the left. They make fun of people for acting all silly and acting all crazy. And then, given any type of motivation, they do the same things themselves. They cried, it's heresy. They were crying. They were looking for their safe space. They were looking for their service animals, no doubt. These poor Christians, they think that they're being so persecuted, and some Christians are. But guess what? Join the club. We've all been persecuted, and you've usually been the ones doing the persecution. So excuse me if I don't break out the hanky for you Christians that think you're being picked on. If you can't take it, don't dish it out. But this researcher gave an amazing presentation. And let me share it with you. And there's reasons for this. And it's actually very good research. So here's the painting in question. Now, we have to talk a bit about medieval paintings. Do you realize that most of these medieval artists, the only way they got paid is they got paid by being patrons of the king or of the church? And there wasn't much difference between king and church back then. So when you painted, you had to paint all about Jesus. They weren't painting Jesus because they loved Jesus so much. They were painting Jesus because that's about all they were allowed to paint. And they weren't allowed to paint, "We think Jesus was transgendered," because it would have been off with their heads. But they were allowed to be serendipitous. They were allowed to be creative. And the best of them wove information into the paintings that makes people go, I wonder what's up with that. So picture yourself, if you can, you are a medieval believer that doesn't want to be a Christian, but didn't want to stand up and get the sword run through you. So you decided, okay, I'll go along with it. But you know it's not right. And maybe you're trying to bring some perspective, or you're trying to drop some hints. And some people might say, to help people say, you know what? It just, something's not right. And if you look at this dude, this is supposed to be a dude. And he's the most femininely presented person in the painting. I mean, look at the woman. She is super duper manly. This, I don't even know, is that man or is that woman? This one, I'm pretty sure it's a dude, but Italians could be, some Italian women got a pretty good beard. Yes, they do. And they tell us to see what we don't see, as Smoochie points out. So if you look at Jesus here, how manly does he look to you? Not very. He looks very womanly, in fact. He looks like the dude that won the singing contest that started this whole transgender thing off. And if you notice, he's got his little ethnic locks here. Another little message. And he's got his beard, but he's got his perfectly clear, no hair, feminine body. And then I blew this up a little bit so you could see The wound does kind of have a vaginal appearance. And like this lady's looking, she's like, what the hell is going on here? And then as it goes down here between his legs, I blew it in a little deeper for you. What does it look like? It looks like a vagina. It doesn't look like a person with a penis. It looks like a person with a vagina. So what? And this lady's like, oh my God. Or the dude's like, oh boy. And she's like, brah. Look at her. Brah. You got a vajayjay, brah. You got a vajayjay, and this guy's like, "Ooh, that's not what I expected to see. I expected to see a different angle on that dangle." And then this one little guy's like, "Whoa, that's not right." And this one's like, "Oh, hey, they." This lady's like, "Oh, I can't look." And this one's like, These are like, are you? This is where the Christmas song came from. Do you see what I see? That's where it came from, right here. So is it really beyond artistic interpretation, having had 8 quarters of art history in my collegiate career? No, this is good textual criticism of this painting. And it sure looks like dude looks like a lady. Or dude's not even real. Looks like a Barbie doll, as Tracy Cooperrider says. Wow. The only thing dangling is right here on this person's dress, which is kind of interestingly juxtaposition to the things that aren't dangling when they're supposed to be down here. But anyway, the church worshipers cried heresy. They left church in tears. But the view of a transgender Jesus is legitimate here, according to Dr. Michael Banner and Jeffrey Daugherty. And they are suggesting that Christ had a trans body. And he was backing up the research of this fellow researcher, Joshua Heath. And this is depicted in many Renaissance and medieval paintings, depicting a side wound that is likened to a vagina, and he did it right in front of the congregation and said that Jesus and his genitalia had a decidedly vaginal appearance, and they did. I mean, just look at it. That's decidedly vaginal. I don't care what you say. That's decidedly vaginal. So maybe I'm not the first Christian whistleblower. Maybe there was a lot of other whistleblowers saying, whoa. And think of this. In Christ's simultaneously masculine and feminine body in these works, if the body of Christ, as these works suggest, is the body of all bodies, then his body is also the trans body, claimed the researcher. He's supposed to be the body of all bodies. The body of Christ is supposed to contain men and women. So how could he not be transgender? And how come I'm the first person that's thought about this and has the guts to say it out loud? He also has a girl tummy. This reminded me of, we're going to let you look this up. You should have it memorized. He gave some to be apostles, and some to be prophets, and some to be evangelists, and some to be pastors, and some to be teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come into unity, and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, which is really a woman, under the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, in Christ being the pre-incarnate, Shekinah Elohim female departments. How about that? You know what, huh? You pissed me off already, so you're gone. Block user. Goodbye. Pissed me off before the show, pissed me off during the show, gone. Gone, gone, gone. I want to, no, we're not going to what are we going to do? We're not going to belabor this, because I'm telling you, and this is my opinion, apostles, prophets, evangelists, all of these ministry people are given to help perfect the saints into the tikkun olam transgendering, which is the work of the ministry, which brings us all to the transgendered body of Christ, which is the unity of the faith and is the knowledge of the Son of God and is the perfection of humanity, so they can bring back tikkun olam and get their temple rolling back again. See, that's just a bonus, just a bonus. But it certainly wasn't a boner. No, sir. No, ma'am, it was not. All right, let's talk about slaves or horsemen. Do you remember on the last program we did, I believe it was Monday night, because my voice failed me last night. My voice failed me last night. It didn't really fail me, but I wanted to make sure that we were good the rest of the week. And we saw that 126 times in the New Testament. In fact, every time that the word is there for servant, servant of God, servant of Christ, servant of the Lord, it's always slave. Now, if you want to be a slave, that's your business. My business is to make sure that you know that you're a slave. And then if you decide to stay a slave, it's your fault. It's not mine. I've done my best to give you the truth that you're living as a slave, a person without any ownership rights, owned by another. And if that's okay with you, then let that be okay with you. But one of the reasons why they want you to believe that you're slaves is so that you will not be horsemen. In the Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 through 8, talks about the opening of the seals and talks about the horses. So I'll give you just a real quick high-level view of the horses, and we'll break them down and show you something I don't think you've ever seen before, and it's going to just blow your mind. The first seal revealed a white horse, and that white horse had a bow. And a crown was given to him, but it really wasn't a crown, and he went out conquering and to conquer. Second seal, red horse, granted to the one that sat on it to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and that it was given to that person, that horse rider, the red horse rider, a great sword. Third seal, black horse, pair of scales. Fourth seal, pale horse, really means green. The name of him who sat on it was Death, and hell followed with him. Power was given to them over a quarter of the earth to kill with sword, hunger, death, and the beast of the earth. So let's go ahead and break these down just a little bit, because this is about to remove fear from you and give you empowerment. And that is what I am here for. The white horse. In the text, as you know how I look at it and how I show it to you, the white horse is representative of righteousness. That's what white means. Brilliance, light. And understand that this rider of the white horse held a bow, like a bow and arrow. He just held the bow, but he wasn't using the bow. He wasn't shooting it at anyone. He wasn't killing anyone. And I want you to notice that this is in stark contrast to the Jesus character. When he shows up in Revelation 19, he's got a sword coming out of his mouth, and he is killing every single Gentile left upon earth. That's what it says in Revelation 19:15. Look it up in the Greek. So this rider of the white horse has a bow, but he's not using the bow, right? And he was also given a crown, but it isn't a crown. See, a crown is emblematic of Judeo-Christian royalty, metal, jewels, the whole nine, right? But if you look in the Greek, and I'm going to let you do it, I'm going to let you avail yourselves. He was given a crown, but it's called really in the Greek a wreath, a garland. It was like the original Olympics where they wove a vine and they placed it upon the head of the victor. So this shows that it's not a Judeo-Christian European crown. It is a garland and a wreath that was placed upon his head. And this speaks to us of the dominion of nature, which will figure much larger, much later. What we see today and what we will see as history winds to the close and we defeat the Judeo-Christian hordes, you're going to see that it's nature versus Judeo-Christianity. And nature boy, woo, we're going to win this time. So the rider on the white horse, with the bow that wasn't using it, with the garland and the wreath, rides out to overcome and conquer. See what is happening. I have been right all along. How many times have I said, don't worry about there being a race war. Don't worry about there being a war. There won't be a war. As soon as they see us coming, they'll quit. They'll run. See what happens. He rides out. He's not using his bow. He puts on his wreath, his crown, and he rides out overcoming and conquering without using his bow. There will be no fight. That's what I'm trying to show you. I've been trying to show you. I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to encourage you. As soon as they are enemies, and it's the Judeo-Christians, that's our enemies. That's the people that are keeping us under their heel in this world today. As soon as they see us coming, they run, they retreat, they surrender. And then there's a red horse, and red is the color of the chancellor. I'm sure that's just coincidental. And this horse that wasn't using the bow, this horse that was wearing the crown, the rider thereof, the one overcoming and conquering without even fighting, draped in the red banner. The original Greek says they were given power to take and receive peace. How do you take and receive peace? Well, because there's two kinds of peace. You ever heard of the peace called Pax Romana? Well, basically it was peace because Rome was the biggest, baddest asses on the planet. Nobody else could beat them. So it was Pax Romana, or Roman peace. Right now we have false Pax Judeo, because the United States is a colony of Israel, and we are in Pax Judeo. But this rider on the white horse will take away Pax Judeo and will give real peace, real freedom, real independence, real sovereignty. And they take away people killing one another, meaning they eradicate brother wars forever. What does this mean? This means that, as Pat Buchanan famously said, the U.S. government is Israeli-occupied territory, and at least since World War I, we've been fighting Israel's wars. White Americans against white Germans, against white French people, against white Italians, see? Why are white people killing white people for the other white meat? It needs to stop. It's like Muhammad Ali when he got drafted. He said, look, I'm a black man. The Asian man ain't never done nothing to me. Why should I go fight the yellow? Why should a black man go fight the yellow man for the white man? He was right. And he was given a great sword. He is left with what he needs to make sure that this simulacrum never rises again. The simulacrum is the Judeo-Christian New World Order. And we stood by and watched it be built. We defeated the Judeo and the Christian back in 70 AD, but we failed to remain vigilant. We failed to remain diligent. And now we're back barely in control of our own country. And this is the same sword that the lying Jesus pretends to steal back in Revelation 19, which is reminiscent of the thievery of the Ark of the Covenant as they fled Egypt, and the thievery of, I believe it was called Liamhulu in the Anunnaki epics. But it's just a lie, and they're not going to get it back. They're going to get it, but not the way they want to get it. You'll get the point. And then there was a black horse. Oh, Jeff, that black horse, that scale means they're balancing, they're weighing. It means that there's famine. Nope. Wrong. Those scales are not scales of weight. Those are scales of justice. And it's not their black, it's our black. It's black sun black, baby. They got a pair of scales. Not scales of lack and measure, but scales of true justice. Scales of true justice. And then followed a green horse, green being the color of nature, relating back to the wreath and garland on the head of the white horse rider. Not a Judeo-Christian style crown, but a natural crown. What we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages, is the victory of paganism over Judeo-Christianity. And they were also given power to kill a quarter of the earth. Fall on us, people cry out. Hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne. The one that sits on the white horse, the black horse, the red horse, the green horse. For the great day of wrath of us on them has come, and they shall not be able to stand. We've been too nice for too long, but not anymore. We found out that we're not slaves, and now we're horsemen. You can ride, you can be trampled. It's up to you. We're going to have to forego those until the end. I'll probably go over to Rockfin and finish that up. But pretty interesting, isn't it? Pretty interesting, isn't it? Let me look at the Rockfin chat and see if we have any great questions in there. The Rockfin chat appears to be stalled, or y'all just aren't talking very much. Let me refresh. I can't imagine y'all not talking very much. But you haven't been talking very much in the Rockfin chat. That's interesting. Okay. Not going to force you. So let me take you back to something else now. I thought that would get me about an hour. It didn't. But I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Let's go and look at something we started probably a week ago now. Remember, we started talking about the out of the shadows, the dark magic. Well, tonight it's time to pick up on that. And I think I'm in the right place, because tonight I want to call all DARKSIDERS. Something tells me that some of you might self-identify as a DARKSIDER, and something tells me that some of you that right now might not identify as a DARKSIDER. Once you understand what a DARKSIDER is, you will identify as it, because you is it, I guarantee you. And what a night for it to be a full moon. Thank you, Derek. I saw somebody talking about that, and it's amazing that tonight it would be, when we're talking about this very subject. So let's talk about this. It's time for us to destroy the simulacrum. And I know that this is not what you've heard, but this is the truth anyway. The simulacrum is the world manifest by Judeo-Christianity with our Orgone energy. Truth is the only thing that will destroy it. And it has to be pure truth. So you can mamby-pamby, you can blah, blah, blah. You can try to work both sides of the fence. And if you do, you're always and eternally an enemy. Because until you break completely with Judeo-Christianity, and until you get to the place where you're not afraid to call it out and identify it as the main enemy, then you are part of the enemy. And Judeo-Christianity must be destroyed. And it must be destroyed by us. And Judeo-Christianity must be destroyed by us if we want to win. Why? Because a principle of creation is that something must be destroyed before something new can be rebuilt, and their world must be destroyed before ours can be rebuilt in the same exact way that they destroyed our world and built this one on it. Because if they ever get that third temple built, and if they ever, and it really isn't a third temple, that's just what they call it, and if they ever reopen that portal, who knows how long it will be before we can get ourselves back. And it's not the third temple, but there's a reason why they call it the third temple. Holy, holy, holy. That's a triple emphatic. That's the most emphatic statement in Hebrew. Greek is verily, verily. Hebrew, holy, holy, holy. So they want you to think it's a third temple. They want you to think temple, temple, temple. It's like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Let me talk a little bit about the dark side. Let me talk a little bit about nature. Do you know that in nature, the weak are eaten by the strong? That's the way of nature. Is that evil? No, it's natural. You know, it tears Cynthia up. It tears me up too, but we got this fence right here in our yard. We're bordering a big national forest. And we got a fence in our yard that's put up by the National Forest, not by us. So don't just save all your silly comments. But sometimes a little baby deer will get on this side of the fence and he can't get over to the other side. And we've watched it. You know, the mom will hang out and try to tell him, try to encourage him, you know. But after 10, 15 minutes, they leave his little ass. They do. And you know what happens to that little deer? In the real world, he gets eaten by the strong. Is that evil? No, it's just nature. And right now, we're the little deer. We've been weak. We've been weak. And we're getting exactly what we deserve. We allowed Judeo-Christianity to make us weak, and they're eating us. It's just nature. And until we become strong, nothing changes. The hunted must become the hunters. We're the hunted. We have to become the hunters, or nothing changes. And you can't mamby-pamby about it. You can't mince words. You either got to be for us or against us. And if you're not for us, you are against us. And we identify you as the enemy, and we'll treat you as such. Nature always seeks a balance. And this realization forces me to ask myself a most difficult question. I want to eradicate Christianity completely. I want to destroy Judeo-Christianity completely from the earth. I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about a ideology. But nature seeks a balance. So is it really in our best interests to completely destroy Judeo-Christianity? Or is there a possibility that we need some Judeo-Christian something somewhere to exist in some capacity as a cautionary tale, as a warning? I don't know, maybe do we need a little zoo somewhere, a little compound? Though I've never felt comfortable with the idea of total physical genocide of a people, and I ask myself if this need and this demonstrated want of nature for some balance, is this why the chancellor chose not to completely physically eradicate when he had motive, means, and opportunity? Remember, he had the high moral ground, the moral high ground. He was attacked. They waged war. They announced war on him unilaterally. They attacked him with aggressive Kabbalistic magic in a time of peace. This was in violation of all universal morality. It was the time for aggressive action. Yet balance is still what nature will have. Now we can work with her, or we can work against her. And this calls for some deep contemplation on our part. Friday, March of 1933. Wow, that's really interesting. And there's a reason why the black sun is black. We are calling the dark side and all darksiders, we are calling all black sheep. Why do we like darksiders? Because we have an absolute disgust and an almost total lack of tolerance for those that pretend to be something that they're not, and those that hide what they really are for shekels, which is why we loathe Judeo-Christians. Let me give you some characteristics of darksiders. See if you recognize anybody. Maybe the man in the mirror. We're less bound by shame and guilt. We're willing to go deeper and darker. We are more open about sexuality. We're not revelation people. We don't believe it because some dude, some chick, some book said it. We are rather well-read and intelligent and contemplative. We're loners, and we're comfortable being so. We must look behind the curtain, and we're drawn to others of the same mind that aren't content to just leave it alone. We feel and live at the archetypical level, and we dare to explore the taboo. Steve Borg says, yes, he wishes to eradicate it. The system has destroyed everything we should have had for a beautiful life. I agree with you, Steve. I'm just calling for some contemplation, that's all. But I agree with you. Mic check, really? What's up with the mic? Let me see. Settings, audio. Ah, that's why we have. I thought something sounded a little weird. That should sound a lot better. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We dare to explore the taboo. Explore the taboo. And there's a reason the black sun is black. What is taboo anyway? Bad, horrible. No. Taboo, the word was first used in 1777. I find that very interesting. And taboo means consecrated, inviolable, forbidden, unclean, cursed. Explained in some English sources as being from the Tongan tabu, sacred, ta, mark, boo, especially. The noun and verb are English innovations as first recorded by Captain Cook in his voyage to the Pacific Ocean. So taboo is not bad. They just want us to think it's bad because it's only bad for them. Because the taboo is what we're going to use to defeat you, Judeo-Christian hordes. Because we are rebels with a cause. We will receive help from other beings considered to be dark. Ooh. And what is darkness really? Darkness is the deepest reaches of our unconscious. Why is it unconscious? It hasn't always been, but Judeo-Christianity has driven it deep into our unconscious. That's another reason why we must eradicate Judeo-Christianity completely, Steve Borg, at least from our body, our psyche, and our thetan. It's got to go because it keeps us from being all that we're meant to be, and all that we're meant to be is defeating them. Oh, this is deep stuff. This is deep stuff. And if you notice on jeffreydarty.com too, you'll also see a thing there that says Jeffrey Darty University. I wrote 1,000 words today for content for Jeffrey Darty University. I'm in the first part of Jeffrey Darty University. It's called Unindoctrinate. It's the 101 level. And I'm writing Unindoctrinate, My Journey, Your Journey. From indoctrination to divinity, sovereignty, and freedom. That's the first course in the Jeffrey Darty University. It'll probably be done in a week or so if I keep writing 1,000 words a day. We'll release it for you. And this course, this Jeffrey Daugherty University is it's intended to get you from where I was to where I am by your damn self. By your damn self. And we'll have Create Yourself will be part of that. It's all going to be there. Let's talk a minute about what's called darkness, but let's reframe it into passive and aggressive. Because there's passive and aggressive aspects of what is called darkness. I don't even really think it's darkness. They want us to think it's darkness. Passive parts of darkness are divination, psychic work, our cards, our rods, our astrology. Those are kind of passive. Not mean that they're not important, but they're just passive. Then there's aggressive parts of what's called darkness. Lust, passion, desire, war. But war righteously. Righteous wars are only launched in self-defense. And we need to launch one. Destruction, storms, sexuality, the untamable, the impossible, active manifestation. That's what aggressive magic is. And we as Darksiders, we're willing to face our fears. We defy and we deny social conditioning. I don't know if you know what this word means. Not a single one of us regrets not. Leave it right there. And the Darksider, the light sider, the people that don't get us will say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Darksider says, if it ain't broke, break it. Because if they're a lot like two trees, he realizes, well, yeah, you've been doing it that way forever and it seems to be working. But what if you broke it and fixed it and made it better? That's what we do as Darksiders. If it ain't broke, we break it. This is the way of optimization. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages, this is why they don't get us. David McDonald, $10 Rockfin tip. Christianity is a salvation credit card. You're saved today for eternal worship during infinity. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Nobody reminded me about Jaron. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this with you. We're going to do this together. We're going to do this together. Jaron really helped me out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Rockfin here, and we're going to find Jaron's show that's playing. Let me find it. He's got a show going on right now, I believe, Jaronism. I'm not telling you to leave my show. I just want to show you what I'm doing. Jaronism. Is he live right now? He's supposed to be live. Is he live right now? He's not live. What's up? What's up? Jaron isn't live on his show yet. He said it was 6 o'clock Pacific time. 7, 8. Why isn't he live? Is he on a different channel? Does he have more than one Jaronism channel? The Jaronism show? Well, I don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. I'll check back. Maybe it starts in another hour. Okay, so let's continue on with what we're doing. Continue on with what we're talking about. But I need to do something for Jaron. Remind me at 9. We tend to enjoy darkness. A lot of us are night owls. We find excitement in what other people fear. We constantly strive for optimization. Good enough isn't for us. And we constantly challenge ourselves. That's what Darksiders do. That's why I like hanging out with Darksiders. You see, folks, the bottom line is that darkness is their word for the untapped or hidden potential in each of us that they're trying to keep us unaware of. Darkness is their word for the untapped and hidden potential in us that they know if we find, we'll use to kick their ass, so they want to keep us unaware of it. We also don't fear death. This tends to drive us towards maximization of time, and it tends to facilitate high achievement. Because really, death teaches you how to live. And understanding death and making peace with it facilitates a greater life. That's the kind of people we are. Here's a random rabbit trail. Can I do a random rabbit trail? Can I do a random rabbit trail? Can I? And I don't see Jaron. Vicky Lloyd, $5 tip. Thank you so much. I want to give him an idea. I thought you were live. Thought you were live. You were. Thought you were live. Question mark. Thought you were live. Come on, damn it. It's not that dark in here. Thought you were live. Question mark. All right. See if he says anything back. Huh? Okay. Random rabbit trail. Crossroads, Christianity, and other stuff. Everybody remember Rowena? Rowena from Supernatural? I've always wondered, why the cross? Why the cross, given the culturally ubiquitous nature of crossroads? Everybody knows that crossroads are where demons hang out. Everybody knows that you go to a crossroad to make a deal with the devil. And yet, where does Christianity have you go to make a deal? At the cross, they take you to the cross. Everybody knows when you go to the crossroads, you got to give up your life to get whatever the deal is. When you go to the cross, you give up your life to get whatever his deal is, which is eternal life, which isn't the eternal life that you think it is. Are we really so simplistic that they tell us to come to the cross? We know what the crossroads have always been, and the reality is that Jesus is just another crossroads demon, and he's not even hot like all the other crossroads demons. I wonder about that. It's just weird, man. Why vampires? Why is the Judeo-Christian controlled media work so hard to both scare us about vampires while at the same time align themselves with this age-old characterization of their people? You ever notice that most male wizards are presented as kind of like sexy and cool, while most female witches have always been presented as ugly, evil hags until lately? Now we got Rowena. Now we got like some of them good-looking witches on Grimm. It's changing a little bit. Interesting. Then you got the mad scientist, which says, oh, don't push borders. Oh, don't question science. Oh, don't question authority. Monsters. Be afraid of monsters. If Jesus was anything, wasn't he a monster? Wasn't he a monster? He rose from the dead. He got out of a grave. He was taking a dirt nap and he dug out. Sounds like a monster. And remember, they do not invent. They copy. Consider the golem. Is the golem Judeo-Christianity's answer to the aggressive, magic-made monster? Somebody asked me, can we make egregores, thought forms to do bidding? I don't know. But it's another one of those things just to ponder. Just to ponder. They didn't create this idea of a golem. They copied it from somewhere. Everything else they do is an inversion. I'm just throwing it out there. Or maybe we transform ourselves into the monsters they fear when we get in touch with our dark side. Vigilantes are demonized for obvious reasons. Unless, of course, they're Judeo-Christian vigilantes, and they're okay. Werewolves. See, this is it. They fear that we're werewolves. That's why they created the golem, to combat us werewolves. Do they know? Do they know? And you know, there's nothing worse than a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? According to the script. Matthew 17, beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. Sounds exactly like Jesus. And I noticed something new in Isaiah 11:6, where the wolf will live with the lamb. That's what it says. Isaiah 11:6. Let's look that up real quickly. I want to show you something that I don't think you've ever noticed before. Bible Hub. Isaiah 11:6 is what I'm looking for. Bible Hub. I'll find it. Don't worry, I won't make you watch. Isaiah 11:6. All right. Because it just something was about it. And I said, I got to look at this. And when I saw what I saw, I'm like, wow, that's some deep stuff right there. Okay. So this is some deep kosher disclosure right here. And I think you're going to be very impressed. All right. So let's take a look at this. Kind of all over the place tonight, and that's okay. It's fun. And we're trying to make it so. So 11:6, and nobody else will tell you these things. The wolf. What's the wolf? Benjamin, which was the Apostle Paul, the only Benjamite mentioned in the New Testament. A wolf. A zahabi. A wolf, right? A ravenous wolf. Just like Benjamin, just like the Apostle Paul, writer of 2/3 of the New Testament. Oh, and it's interesting. There's wolves. It's also rendered wolves because there's Jesus and Paul. There's more than one. Okay. Wolves, wolf. So we know what a wolf is. The wolf will live. The wolf will abide. You've been in Christianity. You've heard the songs, abiding in the vine, abiding in the vine. Love, joy, faith, peace, all of these are mine. Abide is a Jesus word. It's a Christian word. It's a Judeo-Christian word. So the wolf abides. He's in harmony with the lamb. What's with mean? With. He's in harmony. He's just alike. They get along. They're among the same places. They're working together. You know the old meme, the man and the dog are working together. The wolf and the lamb are working together. It's a sham, this wolf and lamb. They live with each other. They hang out with each other. It's Republican, Democrat. The things you discover when you actually study the Bible are amazing. They're amazing. They're on the same team. And they've got you convinced that they're not. Silly Judeo-Christians and those still infected. Have we had it wrong this whole time about wolves in sheep clothing? Wolf in sheep's clothing. Beware false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. I tell you what, of all the people I deal with, there is no one more ravenous than Christians. No one more ravenous than Christians. They're supposed to be sheep. They're supposed to be nice. They're supposed to be kind. But they're ravenous, murderous, mean, nasty people. Is that about Christians? Yes. Is that about Jesus? Yes. He also claims to be the Prince of Peace, but he's coming back with a sword to cut you in pieces. He claims to be the Prince of Peace, but he didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword, and he's coming back in Revelation 19:15 to kill every Gentile. He's really a ravenous wolf. He's just pretending that he's a sheep. Us, We come straight up as the wolves we are. We're not trying to fool anyone. And there are no wolves in the circus, and there never will be. Never will be. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it? Can we talk a little about the fool? The fool is darkness unrealized. I come to believe now, after almost 42 years, that the great aim of Judeo-Christianity is to keep you a fool. Because when you fulfill your great basic purpose, you become a magician. In fact, you have to be a magician to thrive in this Judeo-Christian simulacrum. And our shadow is our repressed potential. And it's intentionally repressed from without by the Judeo-Christian simulacrum and suppressed from within due to the spiritual Stockholm syndrome of Judeo-Christianity. And it's become autonomic. It becomes autonomic, automatic. You will not see it until you look for it. So much energy is put into its repression and its suppression because of its enormous power. This is you now. This is you after you've been unindoctrinated. Everything that's on this table is in that pack. It is my job to show you how to unpack it and use it. There is a collective shadow of fools that will never be magicians unless they wake up. And as a country, or as the idea of what our country was supposed to be, our identity's been totally inverted. We were founded to be a land of pagan deist freedom, and we become a land of Judeo-Christian slavery. Meant to be a nation of magicians, we exist as a country of fools. And this collective shadow must be confronted. It must be confronted. The USA today is a nation of fools. And the great magician identity of the American founders has given way to this nation of fools. This group mentality has created a collective shadow that Americans now identify with. The American ideology of Judeo-Christianity is a corporate expression of our fears and our inferiorities. It's testament to the power of the fear and guilt Judeo-Christian blood magic control matrix, the simulacrum. That's why we've got to find our dark side. That's why we've got to confront our shadows. We've got to confront our shadows. And a confrontation with the shadow is essential in the development of optimization. We need to learn to dance with our own demons in the pale moonlight. And if you recognize that quote, good on you. Confrontation with our shadow means the death of the non-amigo aspects of our ego. Do you know that our ego is our amigo, but not all of our egos are amigo? Because a great deal of our ego is tied up within this Judeo-Christian mind control that we've been forced into. Judeo-Christianity has built a great fear within us that if we dare to look inside, who we thought we were will be destroyed and our lives will be lost. And they're right. That's the good news. Matthew 16:25 says clearly, whoever wants to save his life has to lose it. And whoever wants to lose his life, he finds it. They do not want us to understand what death is and not be afraid of death, not be fearful of death, because then they don't have anything to hold over our heads anymore. No more sword of Damocles. And we are divine, sovereign, and free, and we win. That's the battle, folks. To see who you really are and win. To see who you really are and hear me in stereo and win. It really is an exciting journey that we're talking about. Confronting the shadow shakes us down to the very core of our being and makes us realize that we're not what we think we are. And this is the great danger to Judeo-Christianity, because when we become aware of our true nature, we see how Judeo-Christianity is not only no help, but it's of great harm. It steals who we are. We discover that all the supposed dark, evil parts of us are Judeo-Christian illusions and Jewish projections. We've got to press through to individuation. And shadow work allows us to confront the repressed and ignored parts of ourselves. Due to Judeo-Christian mind control, this mainly concerns the aggressive, destructive aspects of ourselves. Thus, shadow work's really a misnomer. It's a fear-focused moniker designed to keep us from discovering our true power. The shadow isn't really dark. It is light itself. It's who you are. It is the light of your essence and of your being. Oh, I don't want people to know about those things that are in me. Well, those things that are in you are supposed to be there, and those that know they're powerful, and only the Judeo-Christians are the ones making you think that they're not. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? 7. Okay, it is a little bit later. Jaron said, okay. What's wrong with you? When you confront the shadow, when you go deep within, you find yourself becoming individuated, which means you step out of the Judeo-Christian simulacrum matrix and you separate yourself to live divine, sovereign, and free. See, you're afraid. You're afraid I'm afraid if I leave Jesus, I'll go to hell. I'm afraid if I don't pick up my cross, I'm afraid. And then just stay afraid because we can't use you. When we step out of the Judeo-Christian simulacrum, when we step out of their matrix, we separate ourselves to live divine, sovereign, and free. We're so deluded, possibly mainly due to the intense and immense Judeo-Christian mind control thrown upon us over the millennia. We're so deluded that we fear to be free. And the Judeo-Christian mindset has been so integrated with our personhood and our ego that we fight for it like it is life, when in fact, it's actually death. My assertion is that what is called the shadow is really the reality of what we can be, obscured by the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt control matrix. Christianity is the shadow, and it must be consciously confronted. Otherwise, individuation never occurs, and you remain, even unawares, assimilated in the Judeo-Christian Borg matrix. I see it almost every day. People that are smart, people that know a lot of things, cannot even see reality when I point it out to them. You know why? Because they don't want to. They don't want to. There's a book called Exposing Christianity. It brilliantly identifies something we've all seen. And like I said, I'm seeing it more and more every day. Exposing Christianity says, because of being steeped in, believing, and living a lie, Well, why don't you just let them stay in Christianity, Jeff? Why do you got to be against Christianity? Why won't be able to come out of Christianity? Because if you continue to be steeped in, believe, and live a lie, which Christianity is, and you continuously fail to confront it, sooner or later, in the advanced stages of Christianity, the Christian actually takes on an artificial appearance and begins to look like the lie. The well-known pasty look with the smiley mask. The lie emerges and merges in and with the physical self. Now, we also see in this suitor-truther world, the militaristic, defiant manifestation of the same mannequin. I show people exactly what the text says. You're misinterpreting it. When it says don't interpret it, I exegete it. And they run from it like the cowards they are. It is this that's described by multiple kosher disclosures within the scripted text, such as having eyes but not being able to see, having ears but not being able to hear. That's what I'm talking about. That's that Christian look. Peter LeSean, $5 tip. Thank you very much. Ever learning but unable to come to the knowledge of the truth. That's that Christian look. Professing themselves to be wise, they became as fools. Having a conscience seared with a hot iron. Twice dead, withered, plucked up by the roots. That's these identity Christian. That's these people that try to say they're Christian truthers. You got to be one or the other. You can't be both. And I still stand here waiting for any of you to appear on this channel for a gentlemanly conversation about it. But I'll continue to wait. But I'm not going anywhere. Thank you, Dukes. I'm not going anywhere. It's the perfect description of modern Christianity. And they wrote about it again in Romans 1:28. They told us what modern Christianity would look like. Are you ready? They don't like to retain divinity in their knowledge. They're given over to a reprobate mind. Beautiful description of modern Christianity. They do things which aren't convenient. We believe in the Bible, but not that part of the Bible, but we believe the whole Bible. Yes, Jeff, we believe in the text, but not that one right there. What? Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters, despiteful, proud boasters, evil, disobedient, without understanding, oath breakers, without natural affection, unmerciful. That's exactly who Christianity is today. The nastiest, meanest, ugliest bunch of people on the face of the earth. Only exceeded by Christian truthers. They say that it's bad to judge. And if you call somebody fool, you're worthy of death. But they call you fools up and down every day. And they take pleasure in doing what they tell you you can't do. Tomorrow night we'll continue with demons and evil spirits. Oh my. Oh my. You can't mix Jesus with paganism. Just leave it alone. It's nonsense, of course. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Do you know I was going to take a little job, make a little money, get a little ahead? A remote sales job for Viking Cruises. And they told me I couldn't have the job because I refused to be vaccinated. for a work-at-home remote sales job. So Viking Cruises said, you can't have the job. Can you imagine anything more nonsensical? It's crazy, folks. It's absolutely crazy out there. And these people are absolutely nuts. There's no doubt about it. These people are absolutely nuts. What am I looking at here? Something isn't right. Something isn't right. Something isn't right here. Okay. Now we're back. You know what? It's been a long time. Let's see if we can open the phone lines, take a few calls. And if you hear welcome to the Christian Whistleblower, press 0. If you hear music, then you are on hold, and I'll get back to you. The phone number is 913-279-0831. 913-279-0831. Go ahead and call in if you'd like to have something to say. And I stand here ready, willing, and able to take your call. Tomorrow night, we move in deeper into out of the shadows, getting a hold of our dark side, getting in touch with our dark side. It's going to be our salvation. You're live in the heartland. What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
Well, I was wanted to call you last week when I saw you were about to get sick, and I was going to suggest to you, because you didn't have a talk thing afterwards, if you take about a quarter spoon of Epsom sauce, baking soda, please excuse me, baking soda, Arm & Hammer's, a quarter spoon in your mouth, and just let it stay in your mouth and just suck it, let it dissolve in your mouth for a while. It gets rid of the throat if you do it a couple times a day.
What was that again? Tell me again. I was reading. Baking soda?
And baking soda. Arm & Hammer's, because other types have some aluminum in it.
So just baking soda.
Plain baking soda. And if your nose is a little stopped up, then just put a little bit up each nostril, sniff it back, wait about 15, 20 seconds, then blow your nose, and then it'll clean you out.
Oh, sounds good. Tom Nixon, thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. And I wanted to ask you, did you get to see the Elvis karate?
I did. That was amazing, my man. Amazing. I in fact got Cynthia watching it, and I mean, it's kind of it's amazing to know that but then it's kind of sad to know that what we know about the man really is true.
Right. Well, I'm glad you got to see me a little bit in it.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So, I mean, overall, that wasn't a guy that's worthy of love and adulation.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Terrible stuff. You're live in the heartland. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's John. Yeah. Man, welcome back. I hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been fighting it off, brother. Been fighting it off. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was coming down with something the other day, too. I hadn't got rid of it yet. Little sniffles for now. But anyway, did you get that picture I sent you?
I did. It was a very, very interesting picture.
I want you to show that to your wife and ask her that you don't look a little bit like him.
All right, I will show it to her. She was not here when I got
it. I think down your chin and everything, you look a lot like him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I will show it to her.
By the way, have you ever you've heard of Louis Farrakhan, haven't you?
Absolutely.
He has got a new book out about the slave trade with the Are we on the wrong channel? Can I say the words?
No, we're still on YouTube, so we got to be careful.
Okay. Well, anyway, he's talking about the limbs having the slave, the boats and everything, brought them over here.
Yep.
And that after the Reconstruction, they had stores at all the plantations. When they let the slaves back to the plantations. A lot of them went back and they paid them a small salary.
Right.
And the stores would charge them exorbitant rates, and they were still just dang near bankrupt over it.
Yep.
You know,
I've actually seen those
so
books.
that's
I have
another
those
interesting.
books.
It's a good book if you want to read about what all happened there. I mean, you probably already got other sources, but
no, I've got those actual. I've actually had those books. John.
Oh, another thing I was going to mention, the one of the rabbis that I watch on the internet is being sued by the prime minister's wife.
Wow.
Because the Messianic Jews are. Have you read that?
Not that one.
Okay, one of the he's being sued by that, and it's like $700,000 lawsuit because he's trying to stop the Messianic Christians over there that are calling themselves Jews over there in Israel, and he's for some reason she's upset about it, and she's suing the rabbi for $700,000.
Wow.
It's kind of an interesting story.
It is.
That shows you just how much Christians are indoctrinated, especially Messianic Jews, and that they're getting into Israel and trying to convert the Jews.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
crazy.
But anyway,
stuff.
I use the J word, but that's what they're doing, and that's what's going on. It's knowledgeable. It's happening.
Thanks, John, for the call. That was a good one. Always good to hear from you. You're live from in the Heartland. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jeffrey Darty, this is Super Galactic. Can I tell you about an experience that I had? It was very powerful.
Yeah, just be careful. We're on YouTube.
Oh, I will. It's about the 4 horsemen. There was this time when I was still going to church and stuff. I put on a white suit. Nothing but white dress pants and a white Western button-up shirt. Well, I got to looking at my family picture of my daddy and my 2 uncles and his 2 sisters. Well, my eye was caught on my daddy and his 2 uncles, which is 3 people. And then I saw a shadow that was white, and I believed it was my shadow just turning white, and I could see an orb shining real bright, and I could feel it speaking to me saying, "Don't go to church, don't go to church." Well, I ignored that and still went to church. Well, as soon as I went to church, I didn't feel right. I felt something eerie about being inside churches. So I thought, well, I'll go to a holiness church, a church that's more on fire. Still the same thing. I still felt eerie, felt something that was not right about these 2 churches that I was in. So I told my mom, I said, I got to leave. I don't feel right in these churches. And she's like, what are you going to do then? I said, I'm not going to any church now. And she was kind of concerned because, you know, she loves me and wants the best for me. And then there was this thing that come over the radio broadcast talking about people being burned at the stake. And I thought about what you were saying. They want us afraid of death and stuff. And we have to not be afraid of how they might try to kill us or hurt us in some kind of way. We can't fear that. They'll try to do that, I really believe. But that's my story.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And that's a great encouragement, Super Galactic. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. I mean, who knows what they'll try to do, but let them try, because we are more than able to carry the day. And we just have to realize that death is a part of our experience. We are rising, we're being, and we're passing to a new arising. It's just that simple, cousins. It's just that simple. I don't know if any of you joined the cousins group, the porch. You can go in there, talk to each other, do the things y'all do, have a good time. It's always there. It's called, well, let me show you real quickly. And I think it's just as easy as click on it and join. You might have to give me a report after the show. I don't want to talk about it during the show, but okay, so let's no, I don't want this back. I turned it off for a reason. All right. So let me share this and I'll show you what I'm talking about as we head on out the door here tonight. Here's jeffreydarty.com. And of course, we got our videos here, but here's the Cousin's Porch. If you click on it, it should, this one is not available yet. The Jeffrey Darty University is not available yet, but the Cousin's Porch, you can click join. You can go in there and let's see if anybody went in there. Oh, there's 3 cousins in there now. I added a group cover image and yeah, it looks like there's 3 total cousins. So this is a place you can go in and talk. You can share videos, I guess. You can share pictures and, just have fun, hang out. Now, here's our FLFE. Here's our Nanosoma, our Healthy Wave mats, Relax Sauna. And here's the Freedom Law. Teach you how 99% of you don't have to pay income tax, don't have to file income tax. If you want to go see us on Gab or Rockfin or YouTube or Odyssey, there it is. And this will be coming soon, Jeffrey Darty University. Well, that's the end of another D program, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages. We're very, very happy to have had you here tonight. And I hope that you're back again tomorrow because it's just going to get better from here, cousins. It's just going to get better from here. You are not born with original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within. You're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. Don't go on bended knee to somebody else's savior. Unindoctrinate yourself. Create yourself. And get busy. We've got winning to do. The last generation of real humans. We're the wild hunt, the last battalion. Let's head them up and move them out. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth.